Hey, so welcome to part 3. So far in part 1, we learned that Jesus was a real historical person, like a real person, flesh and bones. In part 2, we learned that he claimed to be God. He claimed to be the Messiah. And in part 3, we're going to ask the question, did Jesus' disciples, who were the people closest to him, really believe that he was the Messiah? Did they really believe that he was God? Because anyone can claim to be God. I can go up to you and say, hey, I'm God. Would you believe me? I don't think so. But what about if I'm like, hey, I'm God. I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to levitate this table. And I actually do it. Would you believe me now? You'd probably be like, okay, you're not God, but you definitely have something going for you. What about if I'm like, you know what? I'm really going to prove it to you now. And I go to the hospital and I heal the blind people. And I lay hands on the people that are deaf and all of a sudden they can hear now. Would you believe me now? You'd probably maybe not believe me, but you'd definitely be like, wow, there's something amazing about this woman. I don't know, but she might just be God. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to prove it to you once and for all. They're going to kill me and I'm going to die. You're going to watch me die. They're going to bury me for 3 days. And then I'm going to come back to life and I'm going to visit you in the flesh. And it actually happens. Would you believe that I'm God now? I think you would. And that's exactly what Jesus did. He didn't just say he was God. He actually proved it by coming back from the dead. And that's why the Bible says that if the resurrection didn't happen, everything we believe is in vain. Because then he would have said he was God, but he never really proved it. See, the resurrection is the most important event in all of Christianity. And if we can't prove the resurrection, then we can't prove our faith. And all of that's not our focus in this session right now, but let's focus on seeing if the disciples even believed that Jesus was God. Let's take a look at these verses. So in John 14, 8-9, Philip said, Lord, show us the Father, and that will be enough for us. So it looks to me like Philip didn't really believe that Jesus and the Father were equal. And he's like, listen, just show us the Father and we'll believe in you. And what does Jesus answer? He says, don't you know me, Philip? Even after I have been among you such a long time, anyone who has seen me has seen the Father. How can you say, show us the Father? So in here we see that Philip didn't really believe that Jesus was God. I mean, he knew that he was sent by God, but he didn't really think he was God. So Philip didn't really believe. And let's look at Mark 8:29. Let's see if Peter believed. It says, but what about you? He asked. Who do you say I am? Peter answered, you are the Messiah. So Peter did believe. So we have Philip, who didn't really believe. And then we have Peter, who said he believed. But then we know that later on, Peter betrays him. So some of them kind of did believe. Others didn't really believe. However, that was before the resurrection. But after the resurrection, they all believe. Look at John 20:28. Thomas said to him, my Lord and my God. So this is Thomas after the resurrection. He clearly believes now. And look at this one, John. John writes, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him, all things were made. Without him, nothing was made that has been made. So clearly, John believes as well. So before the resurrection, the disciples were iffy. Even John the Baptist sends a messenger to Jesus and he's like, listen, are you the one we've been waiting for? Because I'm your cousin, but I'm not quite sure. They had doubts. But after the resurrection, there was no doubt at all in their minds that Jesus was in fact God. It was proven. It was just like in their minds they knew because they saw this man defeat death. That was like the ultimate evidence they needed. All right, so the disciples, did they believe that Jesus was God? They surely did after the resurrection. All right, guys. Bye.